Good evening to everyone here in India. Thank you for all the students, parents, and guidance counselors joining us today. And good morning to Ms. Shelley Moss from the University of Alabama for joining us on a very important day here today at the Knowledge at KPT Admissions 101 workshop series. Ms. Shelley is going to be speaking about a session topic, as many of you have seen in our emails. Great questions to ask during the admissions process and how to effectively search for colleges. I know during many of our conversations with the attendees, this topic did come up. There were questions about the admissions process and the college search process. So I'm very thrilled to have Ms. Shelley join us today, Ms. Shelley Moss. And what we're going to be doing to all the attendees, as you may have seen in our emails, the session format is going to be the first 30 minutes are going to be about the session topic at hand for the day. And the second 30 minutes are going to be about, the University of Alabama. We'll get to learn more information about this very great institution. And then, of course, we have a Q&A section for all those questions that I'm sure you must be having. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over the stage and the microphone to Ms. Shelley Moss. And thank you so much for joining us. I know it's very early in the morning. We truly appreciate your kind time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And good evening to everyone. And warm greetings from the University of Alabama and myself. As he said, my name is Shelley Moss, and I am the Assistant Director of International Undergraduate Admissions at the University of Alabama. And so I have been working in admissions for 16 years and have helped a lot of students through the process, and have learned a lot of things about the process along the way as well, and hope to be able to share some things with you at whatever stage you may be in the process, whether you have not started the search process, maybe you have started that and maybe you're confused or worried or stressed about it, or you might even have your school that you want to attend already in mind and you're set. I think you'll pick up some things that maybe you should ask and do just to feel better about where you are in that process. My email is there on the screen there at the bottom for you. I am very happy to answer questions even after today about the process for you, about the University of Alabama for you. So please make note of that email, and it will be at the very end of my slides as well. So I'm just happy to be connecting with you today. I hope that everyone is well at this time in this world that we live in today with the prevalence of the coronavirus. I know we're all anxious to try to get back to some sort of a normal existence at some point. So we do wish you very well. So as we think about starting the search, everything has to start somewhere. So it's important for you to really think about what qualities are the most important and maybe not important to you as you go through your process. Some things you may have in mind, and for example, the school has to have sports, or the school has to have a certain type of residence hall or a certain type of major. If that's something very important to you, you need to make a note of that. And on the other side, if there's something that maybe you don't really care if the school has it or not, maybe in the U.S. we call that, it's not a deal breaker. It wouldn't affect you going to that school or not. What are some things that are really important and maybe not so important as you look at different schools? I think it's critical to establish really good admissions contacts wherever you're going. Someone like myself or someone else in the admissions department. The admissions staff tend to be what we call the front door, or the welcome crew. And the people that really, they may not know everything, but they probably know where to find everything and can connect you to other good resources throughout the campus. So it's important to introduce yourself to the admissions staff and to help and to get to know them, and for them to try to get to know you so they can help you best make a good fit. Someone in financial aid, everyone is very interested in the scholarship process. So scholarships and different things, it's important to know someone in financial aid that can help you with those matters as well. Also, someone on the side of the faculty or the teaching staff, someone that can really help you to understand what the academic programs are like, what the classroom situations are like, and such as that. It's important to do a lot of great research at your different school choices. In this day that we live in, almost everything can be found online. Everything from virtual tours to chats with representatives, great websites, active social media profiles. So lots and lots of ways that you can do research at your choices. And then I really do think if it's at all possible, I think an in-person campus visit is great as well. And I know that we may be a long way from being able to even do some travel, but I think doing any type of visit is important if you can do so. So as we think about what to even have on our list of haves or must-haves or doesn't really matter, this is just a list to sort of get you started. And so 6 different characteristics here, and you can determine what's important to you and what's not important to you from that. So the size of the school. Do you want to go to a campus that's very large? Maybe that has courses with 100 to 200 students in those, very active campus life, or are you looking for a place that's smaller, one where you're maybe in a class with 20 to 30 students? What's your learning style with that? Do you like to be in a big group? Do you like to be in smaller groups? Do you mind whatever the student to teacher ratio is? So that number basically determines how much access do you have to a faculty member. So the smaller that ratio is, the more likely you'll be able to interact well with faculty. What type of school? Public or a private school? Just as a general rule, a lot of private schools sometimes can be more expensive. Not all, but some. So do you want to go to a school that is public, that maybe has maybe a major comprehensive institution that has lots of programs, or to a private school that maybe has fewer programs but more specialized? So there are things to think about there as well. So for your location, what part of the world do you want to go to? Do you want to stay home? Do you want to go to the US, the UK? Where do you want to go? Or where do you not want to go? That can be just as helpful as well. Do you want to be in a big city or a small community? We really, at the University of Alabama, we talk as much about our city as we do about our campus. So it's important to know what the area is like that the school that you're interested is in, because you'll be spending just about as much time, if not more time, outside of the classroom than you will inside of the classroom. So is the location a safe one? Is it a place where you can see yourself living and maybe eating in restaurants or grocery shopping or doing recreational activities? What is the campus climate like? Is it an active campus? Do you want an active campus? Do you want to be involved as a student in various campus organizations and groups? Or you may be looking for a school that you can go to class, maybe go to an on-campus job and earn a little money and go home and study. And either way is fine. You just have to determine which process and which type of student you want to be. Academic program. This is one of the more important ones. Obviously, we're going to college to earn a degree. So you want to make sure that the school that you're choosing, and as well as if you have a particular major in mind, you want to really take a look at what the likelihood is of getting internship experience. More and more in the world today, employers want to know what type of experience you've had. And so they'll look at a degree and think, okay, great, that's a wonderful degree, but what have you done? Have you had an internship? Have you had any kind of work experience? What can you show me about how you've applied your degree? And then as far as the degrees go, what is the reputation of that degree globally? Is it well known? And maybe is it not well known? So things to look at there. Another very important characteristic, and again, this is not a list of everything, but just some of the ones I think are important to look at the beginning, is cost. What's your budget? What have you and your family sat down and talked about? This is how much money we think we can spend on school. What kind of scholarships are there available? What's the process for those? So good characteristics and questions to ask as you look through the process. So how do you learn more? Lots and lots of different ways, as I mentioned before. You know, in the world that we live in, access to information is everywhere. So anyone in the admissions department, if you request to be put on mail and email lists, I guarantee you, any good admissions person will put you, will send you information. So particularly through email. So you may be looking at different schools now, and I'm sure you're receiving lots and lots of email messages and maybe things through the mail. So take a look at those things. Those things have valuable information. If nothing else, then looking at the photos that may be on those things. That may be a sort of virtual tour, if you will. If you can't physically get there, you can see more and more about what the campus even looks like. I think doing things like you're doing right now, participating in virtual chats and college fair type opportunities are good. Even information sessions such as this, it helps you to learn more. You can do that from your home. You can do it at school, and I think it's a great opportunity to learn more information. I think it's also great to ask your trusted family and friends, especially those that have gone to college and done the college search themselves. You know, maybe what did they find difficult? What tools and tricks did they do when they searched? Where did they go? You may want to look at some places they've even gone to school if you really trust them and have a good relationship, or if they've been particularly successful. Connecting with your school counselor is also great. Typically, admissions staff, that's who we're going to connect with first as well, and share information about our institutions. So they usually have great information about schools or know how to get you connected. So if you don't know your school counselor very well, make an effort to try to do that when you can. And then there are all sorts of college search platforms and softwares now, either internet-based or companies use those things. And it's almost like a matching service. You can answer some questions, and sometimes they can filter down and help you see, well, these are the schools that maybe match your criteria. So I want to spend a few minutes here talking about some general good questions to ask. And I'll talk about some general questions, some financial ones, some academic ones, and some social ones as well. So I love to ask questions. That's how I learn. And any good staff and faculty on a campus will expect you to have some good questions. So take note of some of these, and even if you've decided where you may want to go, it's a good thing to go back and ask some of these questions, just in case you didn't at the beginning of your search. So just in general, what makes an applicant stand out? This is a good question to ask for the admissions team. What makes an applicant stand out to them? What makes them go, I want to admit this student. I think this student will be a great fit here. What's the school looking for? You know, some schools, for example, at the University of Alabama, we're a public institution, and our admissions requirements are very straightforward. And if you meet requirements, you're admitted. Not every school is like that. Some schools may require different things, such as an essay or letters of recommendation. So what is the school looking for to move you from an applicant to an admitted student? What are the facilities like? Again, you know, you'll be spending a lot of time there, so you want to get a good sense of what the campus facilities are like. And I think 4 different areas are crucial to know. What are the academic facilities like? Where the facilities where you'll be taking courses, maybe the library where you'll study, computer lab space, tutoring space. What are those facilities like? Residential, where will you live? What are the residence halls like? What's the cafeteria like? Are there other food options? You know, you'll be living and eating there. A lot of campuses require students to live on campus for at least their first year. So you want to get a sense of what those are like. Recreational facilities. If you like to work out, or if you want to start exercising in college, are there great facilities for that? What's it like to be active on the campus? Transportation. How will you get around the campus? Again, at the University of Alabama, we have quite a large campus set on 1,200 acres. It's impossible you could walk all of that, but you would be exhausted. So how can you get around? Is there a bus system? Do you let students have cars if you decide to drive? Is a bicycle more of an option? So how do you get around the campus? How do you get from class to class and such as that? And then I really like this question. Why do most international students choose to attend? And what do they like most and what do they like least? And, you know, it's not a fun conversation to have about what does maybe, nobody wants to talk negatively about their institution, but you know, that no institution is perfect. So it's important to know maybe it can help you figure out maybe what a challenge might be at that school, or maybe something to really look forward to if most students do enjoy it. Good questions to ask on the academic side with a faculty member or an advisor. I think these are critical questions that can make you feel better about programs. So what are graduates in the area of interest that you have? What are they doing? Are they successful now? Did they go on maybe to graduate school, or they go straight to work? Are they using their degree? You know, the whole point of going to college is to earn that degree to then hopefully be able to go back and use it in a meaningful way. So what are graduates up to and what are they doing? If you think you're going to need it, what type of academic support is there in your major or at the university in general? A lot of campuses have tutoring services that can help you with courses, or writing labs that can help you with papers and conversation. So what kind of support is there? Again, as no university is perfect, no major is perfect either. So what are the strengths and weaknesses that exist in the program? What do students tend to do well? What do they most enjoy? And what maybe do they struggle with there? What's the primary classroom instruction method? And that goes to what type of a learner are you? And that's something to really think about for yourself. How do you best learn? Do you enjoy being in a group and having group discussion? Are you more of I would rather write my thoughts out and submit a paper, and that kind of thing. So what kind of a learner are you? And does that school, and they may have various instructional methods throughout the program, but what's the primary one? Because that can help you figure out, I may not be able to learn what I want to and how I need to in that method. The faculty member access question is another good one to ask. How often will you be able to speak with faculty? What kind of support and relationship can you expect there? Is a great question. And then the ever important question, again, the whole point is, when you go out into the working world or graduate school, what kind of preparation can you expect to have received? Have they gotten you ready? Especially if you're going to graduate school, a lot of programs will do a focus on that, particularly in your last couple of years, about getting you ready, maybe helping you do test prep, interview skills, writing recommendations for you. How do they get you ready for that? How do they get you ready for your next step in whatever that might be in your career? So again, you'll be spending a lot of time in the classroom, but a lot of time outside as well. So it's important to know what you can expect on the social scene, whether that's being involved on campus, possibly working, or other things such as that. So some good questions to ask on the social side. How easy is it to connect with other students on campus? And that can go with how easy is it to get involved? How many student organizations do you have? What types are they? Uh, is it easy to start a new one if you needed to do that? So good questions there to ask. And then what is there to do in the campus and the surrounding community? Again, it's important to know as much about the community as it is about the campus. And what is that? What is it like to live there? What is it like to be there as a part of the community? If personal growth is important to you, what are the opportunities that you have there? Again, the new groups, if you felt so moved to begin a new group, how easy is it to do that? Is it possible even to do that? And then going back to the transportation question from earlier, how easy is it to get around the campus in the city? Are there transportation systems like a bus system? Or can you get a ride or a cab easily? How easy is it to navigate around the area? Some ever important financial questions here. The financial staff there can really assist with scholarship questions, such as what's the process, what are the requirements, the deadlines. This is important, particularly if you're looking very closely at multiple institutions. A lot of them have different processes and requirements and deadlines. So you need to make sure that you're organized and you're aware of when all of those things are, so you don't miss any kind of deadlines there. Another good question, what's the cost of attendance? And is it possible to set up any sort of a payment plan system? The cost of attendance is typically considered the tuition, housing, an estimated book fee, maybe insurance, your meals, and maybe just general fees. And so what is that overall cost of attendance? Not just the tuition, but what does it truly cost to be a student in the classroom, living on campus, buying books? Just that overall cost is important to get a good sense of that. If working on campus is important to you, I would ask that question about what are the opportunities there? Can you possibly sign up to work on campus as a student? And then one of the other questions I really like to ask is, what are the hidden fees not included in the cost of attendance? So if the school may have something that is a surprise to students when they get there that they owe money on. For example, some students don't realize if they have a vehicle that there's a parking fee. So are there any fees that tend to take students by surprise? And this is good because this will help you to figure out, what your budget needs to be and to see if you truly can afford to attend. So when it's time to, when you've spoken with representatives and hopefully asked a lot of great questions and feel good about where you are, it may be time to start making your decisions. So it's time to refer back to that list that we've created with the college characteristics that we feel are important and not important, and look at that and see what's negotiable and non-negotiable, and compare that amongst your list of schools. Look at all those facts and ask any other questions maybe you didn't think to ask. And I will say here, for you students, engage with your parents on this. Ask your parents, are there any questions you have? Sometimes your parents are looking at things in a different way than you are. And so it's a good thing to go ahead and coordinate with your parents or your family, because they may be thinking of things differently. And they may have a question that you haven't even thought of to ask. Make a list of pros and cons for yourself, and that can help you sort of narrow things down as well. Again, going back to those trusted family and friends and the mentors in your life, it's a good idea. They can maybe help you talk through some of your choices and help you come to a realization. And then give yourself plenty of time to make that final decision. It's a huge decision. It's a large financial decision. It's a large time decision. You'll be spending several years at that institution, hopefully. And you want to make sure that it's a place that you can see yourself being happy, and a place where you can continually grow and improve over your time. So I want to leave you with one final thought here, and this is a quote from a gentleman that did an extensive college visit process in the United States, and he wrote a couple of books. The book Looking Beyond the Ivy League is a great book to access, and it has a lot of great questions and how to search and what's important and maybe not important as well. So I do recommend it if you're interested in another resource. But he says college shopping shouldn't be done with the attitude of, am I good enough for the college, but rather, is it good enough for me? So there are lots and lots of great choices out there for you, but there's a best one for you somewhere. And so you really need to do the process through the lens of, I'm looking for a college that's good enough for me and what I want to do, and that will help me, partner with me to help me get there. And again, that's my email there as well as a photo of me. I hope you can see me through the video as well. But that is me again, Shelley Moss. I'm the Assistant Director of International Undergraduate Admissions at the University of Alabama. And I wish you great luck as you search, maybe wherever you are in the process, and hope that I've given you just a couple of things that may help the search be a little less stressful. So I think I have some questions here. Okay, so let me see what we have here. And if you have questions, do feel free to put them in the Q&A. Okay, so I'll start here. A couple of people have asked, do U.S. institutions require international freshmen to live on campus for the first year? That is going to be a question that is institution specific there. A lot of campuses are moving to requiring any of their freshmen to live on campus, though, and it becomes an issue of safety and engagement, and just allowing the school to sort of have more of an overview of those students for at least that first year. So I don't even know that it's an international student question, but more of a freshman in general question. So it is a good question to ask. I know at the University of Alabama, we do require that freshmen live on campus for their first year, and then they're welcome to move off if they want to. However, most campuses will have housing for students for their entire time if they choose to do that. I always encourage students to live on campus. I think that they can be very involved. And have a lot of services provided for them, such as meals, a consistent place to live, internet access, and different things such as that. They don't have to worry about things that people living in apartments and houses may live in, such as various bills. So I do recommend people to live on campus even after their freshman year. So I hope that helped answer that question. Okay, let's see. So question about UA is, are we test optional? If not, what would be the recommended test scores? So we are ACT and SAT optional. You do not have to have that to be admitted as an international student. However, we do require it for any scholarships that we may award. And the requirements for those is around a 1260 on the SAT. So a lot of schools, especially in light of COVID-19, have gone test optional for at least a temporary time. So again, that is an institutional question to ask as well if you're looking at other schools, just to see if they do require that or not. Hope that helped me know. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Manassi's asking, what is a good recommended class to faculty ratio? A lot of larger campuses are going to have, especially what they consider introductory level type courses. Those may be things like general biology English composition or something like that. Some larger campuses may have sections that run over 100 students. And what typically happens is almost at every campus, your classes in your first year or so are going to be a lot larger. And as you move further into your program, those classes tend to get a little smaller. So, I think it just keeping that in mind as you search and look, knowing that wherever you go, your classes may be a little bigger, but the recommended ratio there, it really depends on on you individually. Do you want to be in a class with a couple hundred people, or are you more comfortable with a class of 20 people? There are campuses that have both of those. Okay. Let's see. Harsh says he's interested at learning more about life in the Midwest. So we do have a lot of great institutions here in the U.S. In the Midwest. So I can help try to maybe connect you to some of those if you want to send me an email. Okay. Question about international student application requirements and accepting the Common App. I can answer for the University of Alabama. We currently do not accept Common App. So if that changes, I'm sure we'll let people know, but we currently do not accept Common App. But for admission requirements for our freshman international students, all we require is a copy of a student's passport or a photo ID of some kind if a student doesn't have a passport. We require English proficiency scores, and that can be either the TOEFL, the IELTS, the Duolingo test, or the Pearson test. And we have some minimum scores for that that fall there that we require. And we also require a copy of a secondary transcript. And we don't require a testing or an educational agency to evaluate that. We can do that internally in our department. So those are the three things we require: the transcript, passport or a photo ID, and English proficiency scores. Okay, continuing to scroll through here. Good question. It's a University of Alabama specific question here about tuition and fees remaining the same across programs. And so we typically do have what's called flat tuition for programs. However, some programs will have additional fees. A good example of that would be if you wanted to come and study nursing. They do have some additional fees that are there as well. And so the other question was, what would be the impact in terms of duration of my degree and the tuition fee if we double major? Always something good to keep in mind with the double major means that you may spend more than 4 years at a school, depending on how closely those majors are tied together. You'll be taking some additional courses with that. So you have to factor in how long do you want to stay in school for that as well. Okay. So another question, a University of Alabama specific one, is what type of scholarships do we offer and what would be the range? And I will actually share a slide with you in just a couple of minutes when we finish our questions about that. But I will go ahead and say that our scholarships for freshman students are automatic based on the qualifications that I'll show you. So it typically starts at about a 1260 on the SAT and a 3.5 GPA. But we do have those scores do slide. So I'll share that with you in just a second. Okay. Question about Alabama providing teaching and research assistantships for undergraduate students. That is more, we offer that more on the graduate side. So any sort of aid on the undergraduate side is going to be through scholarship and not necessarily assistantships. Good question though. But we do have our graduate school. I will put in a plug for them if anyone is ever interested. We do have a wonderful graduate school, and about 35% of their students are on some sort of full tuition assistantship or fellowship. Okay. So someone's also asking from the admissions point of view, can I share how each item weighs and the importance when deciding on international students? And then there's several things. So I will say that, for us, again, we're a public institution. If a student meets requirements, we admit. And so for us, test scores and transcript are really all that we're looking at to make that determination. So for us, I would say transcripts are probably the big one there. But I will say that letters of recommendation can be very important, and essays as well, and the resume and community service. That can sometimes go more into importance if there are any sort of competitive scholarships. A lot of campuses will have merit-based awarding, and then scholarships you can apply for through a separate application, if you will. And so sometimes those will go into more of a importance there. However, a lot of private institutions may look at the letters of recommendation, essays, and the resume and community service for their part of it. But for the most part, public institutions are going to be looking at transcripts and test scores. So I hope that helped answer that question. Okay, so have a question about at the end of the session, can I go over the social questions? Yeah, I'll be glad to. I can flip back to those. Oops. Okay, there we go. So there those are if you needed to see those again. Okay, I think that's all of the questions that I had in the Q&A. Oh, somebody's asking, what is campus life at the University of Alabama? So we have a very vibrant and very active campus life. We have 38,000 students that are at the University of Alabama, and we have 600 plus student organizations. So lots and lots of ways to be involved and engaged with what's going on. We also have a great athletic program that adds a lot of life to campus with 15 different, we have 15 different NCAA, which is the governing body for athletics in the U.S., 15 different sporting opportunities there. So lots and lots of things to do at the University of Alabama in terms of campus life. Okay. So majors and minors that are offered at UA, we have 350 plus different majors and minors offered. So it's almost easier to say what we don't offer. So we are considered what's considered the flagship institution in the state of Alabama, sort of a major research comprehensive institution, meaning that we have a broad range of programs and majors. But the ones that we typically don't offer are anything in agricultural or life science. So if you're looking to be maybe a veterinarian or someone working in agriculture, we don't offer things such as that. But some of our top programs, especially for international students, we have a wonderful engineering program. It was actually one of the first 5. We're one of the first 5 schools in the United States to offer engineering. We've been doing it for over 150 years. So we do engineering very well. We have wonderful business programs, and are about to add a program in what's called data science, which is exciting, and will help study analytics in businesses and different things. So we have a lot of great business programs. a great nursing program as well. Sometimes students don't think about that, but yeah, it's almost easier to say what we don't have. But yeah, 350 plus majors there. I see. Okay, question about where's the nearest international airport if we would like to visit campus next year. Would love to have you come visit. I'll have to say, would love to see you on campus. So we're located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and we have an airport about 45 minutes from the campus called the Birmingham International Airport, and it receives flights from all over the United States. So we are an easy campus to get to. But if you go through and search there, and the airport code is BHM. If you're ever looking at flights, but yeah, it's a 45-minute drive from the airport to the campus. We're also about 3 hours by car from Atlanta, Georgia, and that is one of the largest airports in the United States. So that is most likely where a lot of students will fly into, and then connect with the flight from Atlanta to Birmingham is about 30 to 40 minutes. Okay. So question about waiving the TOEFL if completed an IB diploma. We can do that on a case-by-case basis. So we have to look at the transcripts first just to see if that's a possibility or not. I will say too, we can also waive TOEFL or any of the other English proficiency exams if you've taken an ACT or SAT and have a certain score on the English section. And that score is a 22 on the ACT English section or a 550 on the SAT English section. So it can be waived in a couple of different ways. Also, if we've seen that English maybe has been a primary method of instruction, we can sometimes do that as well. So a lot of that's going to depend on a student submitting an application and us reviewing the transcript first. We're very very hands-on and personal with our evaluations in international undergraduate admissions. So we make those decisions on a case by case. Okay. So a question about what will our admissions policy, will it be different next year due to COVID-19? Or may need to ask, is it going to be more competitive? No, we are not changing. We are leaving our requirements the same. So we welcome any student that meets requirements. We love our international students on campus, and would love to see as many come as they can and want to. So we have no plans of changing any of our admissions requirements at this point. The only thing we may do, and again, ACT and SAT are not required for admission, but they are for scholarships. We do have a priority deadline of December 15th to be admitted, and to have received test scores if you're interested in scholarships. But the only thing I can see that may change is maybe that deadline. It may be pushed back. I know we did it this year, just in light of COVID-19. But otherwise, I don't think anything else will change. We're still willing to work with students wherever they are and however they need us to. Good question, though. Okay. Continuing, you guys are asking some really good questions today. So a breakdown of tuition, housing, and meal plans. Sure. So at the University of Alabama, and I'll go over what we require to be able to issue an I-20, or that document that you would need to take to the embassy to interview for your visa. We require, and it's the 4-year, the total amount for a year is going to be about $48,000. So tuition is about $30,000 of that. So it's about $15,000 per semester in tuition. And then also included in that fee is living on campus and your meals, books, insurance. We include transportation cost and personal money costs. So that number may seem large, but we really have tried to think of everything that you would need to live, go to school, buy supplies and different things such as that. So it's about a 48,000 amount that we do. Now, that is for a freshman living on campus. So that amount could be very different going forward, especially if someone moves off campus and they have roommates and other needs. But that's the typical cost that we have there, Rohan. Hope that helped. Okay. All right. So I have another question. I have another question about for CBSE students. Do they need to submit an IELTS even if they've completed education in English? Again, that will be one that we'll just have to look at it and see about the transcript there. But if you know, once the student applies, we can take a look at that and waive it if we see that we need to. You know, one thing I will mention with English proficiency tests, you know, with a lot of testing centers being closed, I know there's been some anxiety and stress about how do I take a test. So that is one reason we accept Duolingo as well. If you're not familiar with that, it's a test that can be taken online from home as long as you have a good internet connection, and it's $49 US to take the test. So we do accept alternate means for that, so students don't have to take IELTS or TOEFL or the Pearson test as well. Just want to mention that there as an aside. A question about how many recommendation letters we require, and do they have to be from teachers or from a school counselor? For general admission, we don't require recommendation letters. However, we do have students that will submit that anyway as sort of a supplemental part of their application, which is totally fine if they want to do that. You know, my advice typically to students is to get a recommendation letter from someone that you know can really write you a meaningful letter, someone that really knows you. You know, so many people will maybe ask their counselor just because they think it's the right thing to do. But the counselor may not know them very well, and so the letter can come off sounding very general or very generic. So really get with someone that's going to give you a detailed recommendation, someone that knows you very well, and that may be your counselor, it may be a teacher, so whoever you feel comfortable with asking. But for us here, for general admission, we don't require one. But it can be helpful if you're looking at competitive scholarships at any institution. Yes, my email, so asking, can I share my email address? Let me go back to it on the screen there for you. There you go. There you go, Minal. It's shelleym.bama@ua.edu, and I'll type it there for you as well. All right. So a couple other questions here in the chat. Do we offer an honors program, and how does admissions work? Yes, we do. We have an excellent honors program. And so admission for that, students have to be admitted to the university first. And then once they're admitted, we have what we call a student portal that has various applications such as to housing, honors, and other things. And so students will be directed via their portal to an application for the honors program, and they'll apply there. And that is a place on campus that may require some sort of a letter of recommendation. So it is a good idea, and, you know, if you're thinking about applying for things past general admission anywhere, to go ahead and maybe try to get a couple of good recommendation letters. And when you ask somebody to write something like that for you, it's a good idea to let them know what you're applying for. So maybe they can adjust that to what they think that the reader or the approver may want to see. But yes, admitted to the university first, and then an application is made to the honors program. Their deadline for that as well is typically in December, and they normally will make decisions around February. However, that can be adjusted as well. I think they extended that this year too. Okay. So I have a question about career and internship opportunities that undergrads can expect to receive. And so without getting too into the details of it, as an international student, if you come to study, in the U.S., we offer what is called curricular practical training and optional practical training. And so curricular practical training, or CPT as it's known for short, that is an opportunity that can allow you to be approved by a faculty member to go out and do some sort of an internship or observatory experience in an organization or a company directly related to your major. And so that is something that can be done, and typically you're not able to do that for more than a year, a calendar year. So that's something good to do, and we have a lot of students that will come along and do that. Again, it's very important to get great in-class experience, but also to get some application to that on the outside. So for example, if you're an accounting student, you may want to try to intern in a local accounting firm, just to be able to apply some of the things that you have learned. So that's an example of one thing. The other example is what's called optional practical training, and that is typically done at right around graduation, and it extends a student's time in the U.S., and it gives them another year to even go and work somewhere. Now the process for that is lengthy. There's approval that's required by other groups besides the campus. It can take a few months to have that approved, and there's a financial cost to apply for that. The CPT typically is just approved internally on the campus, and it's easy to do. The OPT, the optional practical training, takes a bit of coordination and time, but any good campus is going to have international support staff that will help students navigate both of those things. But it's important to go ahead and ask those questions about what's the experience like, because it can be different according to the campus. Good question. Okay, we have a parent participating, interested in learning about campus safety for students and also information on housing and dining. Yes, safety. Safety is huge. So that is a great question, and a good thing to even pull your parents in to ask there. And so, I can speak for the University of Alabama, and that we have an extremely safe campus. I wouldn't feel uncomfortable walking around at night by myself. Things are well lit. The bus system that we have is wonderful in getting students where they need to go back and forth. It even services a couple of miles away from the campus. So safety is really not an issue there. We have a police force that patrols as well, and they're very visible throughout the campus, and they are actual police officers that can handle any sort of issues that may come up. But we outside of the typical things, typical crime things that happen everywhere, we really have not had any sort of major incident with campus safety. We also have a great app on our phones that we can use that alerts us to any sort of activity going on, and particularly any kind of weather that's coming. So we take great pride in helping our students to stay safe. And so information also about housing and dining options. I'll be happy, and let me, I'm going to type my email there for you. I can send you some information about all of that if you'll just send me a message and let me know. I'll be glad to answer those questions there for you. Okay, another question. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and maybe share another one. Here, I've got a question about how many Indian students do we currently have for our programs, and what are they studying? And I actually have a good slide that I can show you on that. Let me pull it up. If you guys have other questions too, please feel free to put those in the chat. Okay, see if I can get back to this. All right. Okay, so this is a slide that has the top 10 countries of origin at UA, and this is for the fall of 2019. So again, we have 78 different countries represented on our campus from all over the world. And so as you can see, number 4 is India. So we have 79 Indian students on our campus right now, 19 undergrad and 60 grad. And so they major in a variety of different things, and I'll show you this as well. I hope y'all can see my screen. I did try to reshare it, so if you can't, let me know. But the top 10 programs at UA for our international population, as you can see here, are very heavy engineering. So we've got almost half of our students are in the College of Engineering, and I would say a lot of our Indian students are as well. But we do have a lot of students that also come and study business. Okay. Are there any other questions you guys have? You've asked some really good questions. I don't think you're going to have a problem in your college search.
I think we can wait for a few minutes and then we can run the poll. I think if there are any other questions. To all the attendees,
Okay.
we have about 2 more minutes for any questions before we wrap up for the day. And of course, we'll be saying thanks to Ms. Shelley Moss, as well as running the 2 polls that earlier discussed. Thank you.
Question about, do we provide merit-based or need-based? Everything that we do at admissions is going to be merit-based. And so this is that chart I was referring to earlier for our automatic scholarships that are merit-based. So to receive one of these, again, you have to be accepted, submitting that passport, the transcript, and proficiency scores, and also an ACT or SAT. And these are for fall admitted students only. So the fall 2021 application for the University of Alabama will open up July 1st. So you can begin applying then. And if you submit ACT or SAT scores and you fall within any of the ranges there that are listed, you'll automatically receive that award within about a week of being accepted. So we move very quickly with that, and it is something we automatically consider you for, and do that just because you've applied for admission. So as you can see, that very top award will cover a little over half of what's required on the I-20. Okay, so question about, can business students pursue an arts minor? Yes, you can. You know, almost anything is possible in terms of majors and minors and the mix of those things. You know, the only thing I'll say is what I had said earlier, that it may take more time just to finish both of those things. So just depending on when courses are scheduled, there may be a delay in getting the minor done. But we have a variety of programs in the arts at the university. Any other questions?
I think we have one more, sorry.
Oh, I see, yeah. So for computer science, do I need to study math in 12th grade? We do require at least 3 maths. So for us, it doesn't matter when you've taken them, as long as you've taken them in high school. So, you know, if you've had the opportunity to take to take math at any other time. You can't, again, we'll review that when we receive the transcript. And we also will make decisions based on maybe what your school actually offers. We do have what's considered a required or recommended curriculum that we need, but sometimes schools don't necessarily offer everything, so we can make decisions on a case by case.
That's great. Students, we have a quick time for a quick minute. I'm going to wait. And as we're waiting, I'm going to be, running a poll out here. You will be seeing it on your screens very quickly. And we kindly appreciate if you could please participate as Michelle Moss has taken her kind time to share a lot of information with us, especially answer some of the wonderful questions that we're having. So I'm going to quickly launch the poll, and the question for the day is: did you find this session useful? Thank you. I'm going to wait for another 10 seconds before I come back on screen to conclude the session, and also to thank Ms. Moss for her time. We have 3, 2, 1, and go. We end the session. And great. Thank you so much for your responses. I think I'll come back quickly on to say thanks, but can you see me? Hello? Yes, can you see?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I think some of the questions asked were really helpful. I think many of them were very specific to the University of Alabama, which was really nice. And I certainly hope you enjoyed answering these questions. To all the attendees who are here today, I would like to kindly, request you to please come forward to thank Ms. Shelley Moss for her time today and her support. She has already shared her email address, so please feel free to be in touch with her directly. Also, this goes out to all the guidance counselors and students and parents. I know there was a parent in there as well today. Also, I want to quickly point out the Knowledge at KPT Admissions 101 workshop series is also recorded. So for those schools and other students from across India who were not able to join us, we will be sharing this link with your schools on our social media pages, etc. So please be on the lookout for them to request more information. But before I go away for the day, thank you again for your kind time. It was a pleasure interacting with you for this workshop, and I wish you a wonderful day and look forward to connecting with you again soon, and really appreciate the time. So please do take care and stay safe. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed the questions. I thought everyone asked really great questions, and I'm excited to see where they end up in school.
Right, absolutely. Thank you, and wish you a wonderful day and good evening to all the attendees. I hope you have a safe evening as well. Thank you.
All right. Take
Okay,
care, everybody.
goodbye.
Bye.